All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Monday afternoon. Feels good to be back in my normal setup here, at least, well, trading wise. Great to be back, at least for right now, but it was great to be back in New York, seeing family and friends. And it's great to see all of us back here inside our live trading room. That is, I had Margaret just before, she just dipped out a moment ago. Wished her well, but great to see Luis, Irving, Charlene, all of our students and members just joining us right now. A special shout out to my friend Grant rejoining us here today, bright and early as he typically is, and it's great to see him back in his normal spot here in our room. So, just give me a quick sound check to begin for all of us here. Let me know if you can hear me loud and clear. Should be good to go though. I got all of us on YouTube, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, etc. That being at Cyber Trading U. Just on the lower left, you'll see that pop up. Bit late to typing that out there to you there. But if you're not followed or subscribed yet to any of our news feed, social media platforms, that being at Cyber Trading U, just to know when we're streaming live, when we are not, each and every weekday. And then, of course, I know the Fausto actually just finished up with the fine folks over at Bookmap. I just did a whole nice presentation, introductory to day trading webinar using Level 4, as we nickname it, formerly known as Bookmap. And that should be on their YouTube channel as well. Just go over right to Bookmap YouTube channel right there, and you can actually check Fausto out. Now, with that in mind, hey, we have had a really good day today. Normally for a Monday, you don't really expect it, right? You just kind of nickels and dimes. And if there's a stock that has a good order book that is moving up, can make a pop within the first 10, 15 minutes of the morning, then there's pretty good opportunity to at least see it ride out up until 10 o'clock, maybe 10:15, 10:30, right? So the stock now isn't looking too hot. I actually have a bunch of lines here for the meantime. Let me actually just delete all this stuff here. But the GOEV, GOEV stock ended up making a really good push for us. Thankfully, it did because, we were hoping for it to, of course, but it was on our pre-market watch list out there prior to 8 o'clock. Fausto had this as like number 2 or 3 on the main morning watch list that was there. We're familiar with this trade too. So between everything, right? We were hopeful to see this pop. It took maybe like a minute or so, and then right away ended up popping and running right from that point. We'll go over this trade more in our workshop tomorrow inside our live trading room. That is Traders Talk. So for all of us on YouTube right now, just scan that QR code on the top left, get the full rendition of said workshop tomorrow. But I already had a couple emails come in on that trade just about the GOEV. So that's kind of why I'm saying that more so than anything. But it was one that a lot of us, pardon me, ended up capitalizing on early on today. Like, actually, if I could scroll up in the chat just for a quick sec here. Got Barbara joining us, Bill, Patrick, Grant, Alex, all of our students at least. Let's see here. I got to try and fish through for it a bit. All right, here we go. Got everybody. So you had Luis, you had Grant, you had Tony, Charles, Steve, Yehuda, John, Chuck, Lee, Roseanne, Bell, Bill. You could go through that exact same lineup scrolling up in the chat. I'm not just going through random names. You could see everyone chatting at 9:51 in the morning. And then from that point, well, it ended up topping off. You don't need to be perfect on the trade. You don't need to get out at the top in order to feel happy about making money on it, right? On 1,000 shares, making even 20 cents on this trade, you're getting very close to your day's pay within just a matter of minutes. So we did a lot better than 20 cents, but we still weren't perfect, and that's fine. Right now, if you're still in on the GoEv trade right now, this is where we say this is not a swing trade. This is simply in and out, right? Um, normally right around 10:15, 10:30, you do tend to see reversals. This one ended up dropping back down a little bit sooner. It's because it moved up so much so fast. But now at this point, just be careful here. You have lower highs. So you hope to see more on this trade. I hope to see more on this trade, but for right now, we're going to put this to the side. We're going to see if there's stocks that are trending up better, making a stronger move up at this point. So, this GoEv stock, just also be careful of because we're familiar with it. It's only been getting beaten up over time. And even on days where it gapped up and may have ran in pre-market, maybe pre-reverse stock split, maybe it wasn't $100 back then, but no, it just ended up pulling back down. It wasn't really a good swing, was it? So that's where you got to be careful here. All right, so what we'll do though is go from top to bottom. The GoEv trade was really one of our main runners. I guess one of the only other ones I'll just shout here really quick. Would have found it on the gainer side anyway. But the IMRX, this was one from the morning session too. Fausto was head on pretty much right from 240, maybe 250. Then from there, it took off pretty well up towards like 3 and change. This one topped off even a little sooner compared to that 10:15, 10:30 time zone. So that's where you say for as much as a stock goes up and up and up, Well, of course, it's going to hit resistance, pull back. Can it make a higher low though? Is it possible for it to consolidate back down here and go back up again? At times, yes, but once it begins to continue to stumble, you don't want to continue to give up unrealized profits, right? Especially this early in the morning when, if you didn't hit Goev, when we did at least, this was the next one up. But you don't want to start the morning off on a loss. You don't want to start the morning off at least giving back a bunch of unrealized profits there. It's unfortunate that this one ended up reversing a little sooner than we normally expect the stock to, but same to be said here as we just said before in Goev, right? It just goes up, comes back down. That's pretty much it. All right, now we'll run from top to bottom here. I want to talk about a swing trade that I'm in on right now too. On DraftKings, we had called that out just directly inside our trading room for James, Irving, Barbara, all of our students there. We talked about that one in the morning audio broadcast, and we'll come back to that one at the end. But really, top percent gainer here, STI. Let me actually run this one more time, see if there's anything new. Nah. All right. So STI, I also used a volume scan here just so it filtered out all the low volume stuff at least. But I mean, same to be said here. Just looks washed up right now. Perhaps it can continue to fill the gap, I guess, on the daily chart, but that's a pretty sharp pullback off the high that we had. I'm not really too interested in it now. Now, Pixie, on the other hand, tale of two stocks. Pixie, Scott calling out in our trading room just before. So I was going to get to this, of course, eventually. Number 3 on the gainers list. But the only issue on this trade, Scott, and Scott knows this, all of our students here should. Big spread, thin order book out there, very small tier size, even just on level 2, looking at it simply from there. It's running, and we like that. We're going to put this on our list. But, hopefully the order book fills in a little bit more, right? For as much as I couldn't even finish. I couldn't even finish my sentence right there. Just snapped right back down at 489. I was going to say, well, just take one look at Goev and all the others. Same could easily be said here. Actually, Pixie, we've traded before, and very similar fate that the stock suffered. All right, LICY, Lycy, Pixie, Lycy. Yet other Y stocks there. A little push up for right now. I do like the order book on this. Contrary to the other one, definitely a better liquidity. So it's low risk for us to kind of slip this on our list right now. You got the Pixie, you got the Lycy, CDXC. Ooh, not bad. I mean, this thing really exploded back from Friday last week. Forgot about this trade, and it's been sneaking up really like pretty much like right under our nose. How could we not, right? At this point, just again, be careful of the spread. Starting to open up a little bit here and there. SMR. Also, this one too. This thing's been on a tear. I don't know what this company does, and pardon my ignorance for that. We don't really need to know in terms of at least day trading it. It's been a great swing trade in hindsight, though, of course. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll slip this on our list for now. I just want to see better trades that are closer to the highs. For as much as this pumped up the last 2 weeks straight, eventually this is going to come crashing back down, make a lower high, lower low. Keep going through. This was a little bit of a disappointment. Gave back some unrealized profits on this trade earlier today. The ACB trade, I was up like 15, 20 cents maybe at the time on it. Just didn't really get that push up to 4, and it pulled back. I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to hang on any longer. If it's not going to make that, continued move up, there's no purpose in just like forcing it, right? Maybe if it pops during the afternoon, I'll call it out, but we'll put that stock to the side. QSI, not a bad trade here. I mean, on the way up to 2, up 14%. Sneaky little stock here. So I'll add that, and there might be a lot more left that kind of looks like that trade there. There's actually a lot of stocks still sticking near the highs. This TSLT trade. Oh, no, it's an ETF, Tesla. Okay. All right. Well, that takes us to Tesla. There we go. All right. So it's going to be hard for us to ignore Tesla here this afternoon because we had it on our pre-market list. We had it on the morning list. We're familiar with the stock, obviously. So, Tesla, obviously, we're going to add to our list in general. Cypher, this is a mining stock, crypto miner. Ooh, little run up here across the early to mid afternoon on FGen. Looks like big volume getting filled off the top here nearly at 235. starting to round off there for right now. So maybe I'll come back to that at the end if we need to. Man, got a lot that's up percentage wise here. I mean, we don't really need to go through every single one. Already have a decent list here already. Here's a stock back from Thursday last week, Bloom, that ended up dropping off. Decent little short then, trying to recover now. Tradable, I guess, but see if there's anything looking stronger, not just on the intraday, but perhaps also just on the long term. Maybe a 52-week high, maybe a stock breaking a double top, things like that. Like TNDM here, looking at this pattern here, this looks like a big Fausto flag on the daily chart. This is actually a great looking chart pattern looking on the daily. Just looking on the 1 minute chart, though, a little sluggish. Kind of walked right into that, at least there. A good example, if anything, but all right. So I think that's pretty much it on the gainer side here. If there's anything else looking good from the gainer side going up on the way up, just type it in. GMM getting crushed, and we can't short the stock. So we're going to pass on that. We're going to pass on YMI. This stock, remember this back from Friday last week? This is why we say we don't want to turn this into a swing trade, right? Recklessly. What goes up comes back down, and you're lucky that this thing even opened up kind of higher from Friday's close. Oftentimes they'll gap down, and that's pretty much it. LSF, ABEO. Really, unless it's like brand name now at this point, I'm not going to really be too jumpy towards it. Can't really short any of these stocks otherwise. BlackBerry, I was about to trip myself up there and say the other one. SOUN, not really looking too good there either. All right, so you know what? I think that's pretty much it, folks. Not to look lazy here, but really, we're going to find more on the gainer side than loser side typically, especially across the afternoons. Let me just jump to DraftKings. I will slip that one on our list. More is a swing trade at this point, but it's still at the highs, so you could day trade it, of course, hoping that there's a stronger push up into the afternoon. But I called this out earlier as a swing trade. So for anyone unfamiliar, and there's probably plenty of us that are, no sweat. You got the big college basketball tournament coming up this weekend, next weekend, the weekend after, right? Really quick, little participation, if I may. If you are a college basketball fan or if you have a school alma mater that you are proud of, type it in on the chat board right now, college-wise, for Scott, Charlene, Luis. We got a bunch of people looking to follow the big college basketball tournament over the next 3 weekends. It is a lot of money going into this stuff. So, if you're not a sports fan, I get it. Super Bowl brings in a lot of big business, not just across gambling, but across a lot of different sectors. So, DraftKings is one that we've had an eye on for quite a bit. And with now heading into March Madness season, I think that this could be a really good swing trade. And I said that earlier today. You can see on the bottom right here on my screen, 4205 or 42025 there, as far as my swing price right now. I started it off as a day trade, and I got to say, I was freakishly lucky as far as the pop up. I called it out as a swing right here, and it instantly went up. It doesn't always work out that way, right? So I left a ton of money on the table as far as my day trade position went, but I scaled it out, turned it into a swing. That was my intent from the start, and here we are now. So we'll see if this trade continues to push up over the next 2-3 weeks. Obviously, we're off to a really good start on this one. As far as Pfizer, we were talking about the 28 level, and that was a key level to work off of going into the end of last week into this week. It was struggling for a little bit. It tried on Friday and then closed lower, and look what happened. So this trade I did not take. I had mentioned that it was more just kind of showing you as far as an opportunity, looking at the chart, seeing resistance become support, but clearly we didn't get that bounce. So we're off to a good start on DraftKings. Actually, a hell of a lot better start on that one, and this one I'm in on at least. But we'll see if this makes higher lows over time. If we get lower highs, we'll have to make a decision. Do we get out? Do we wait for the lower low? We'll wait on that. But otherwise, DraftKings I'll put on our list either way, and we'll see if there's anything else that we could work with here at this point, right? Let me know if there's any other stocks up or down that you'd want me to check out here, folks, before we finish up. Luis, Charles, Michael, any of our students here. I'm getting stocks like this from Benzinga. I think that's kind of my cue to finish up. Let's see. Pixie, I think we already talked about that one there. PIXY there, already on our list. ACB trying to eke up over my 375 line. So, you know what? I'll kind of slip the ACB on our list one more time. It's been a tease of a stock. I mean, historically, it has been. So, no surprise here today, but what can I say? I'm a sucker for a tease. So ACB will add to our list. Tilray too slow. This one we're not going to deal with at all. MSOS, one of the pot ETFs, isn't really doing anything either. So if anything, ACB I'll kind of put towards the back end of our list, more speculative, but it's tradable. So we'll kind of put it on there for that reason. What was the other one? CGC? Pretty much the same price, right? I mean, now, from my experience, at least I will say, recently especially, that CGC was the more volatile of the two, made the bigger of the move the last cycle in which these had popped. So, you know what? I'll add CGC kind of for that reason. Like, I know that it's more bang for the buck for that matter. They're kind of moving the exact same right now, and they're at the exact same price. So, it doesn't seem like there's much of a difference, but that's kind of just all my experience there. All right, folks. I think that that's pretty much it. Last one I said I'd come back to maybe it was SMR. I feel like it's moved up so much already. Eventually, it's going to make that lower high, lower low situation, and you're seeing it here at least on the intraday side of things of late. So for right now, I'll pass. All right. So, hey, for all of us on social media, just again, hit the follow or subscribe button on YouTube at Cyber Trading You on all of our social media streams otherwise. And then if you're interested in joining us for our live trading room, a week-long trial, especially for our workshop tomorrow, scan that QR code on the top right or on the top left, might I say, of the stream. If you're fancy with your phone, fancy with your camera, I will slow down as I finish up at least. But folks, give me a little bit. I'll be back on the mic in just about 12, 13 minutes just for the afternoon audio session. Talk to you soon.